Last-minute shakeup at 5:30 a.m., laundry situation not good. And when your focus is on helping your clients, it's easy to forget about yourself. But NASM knows trainers.
Morning ride is okay.
And staying in front of the day isn't always as
Nice
simple
ride.
as 1,
What's
2,
up?
3. So when the unexpected has you pressing pause,
What's the latest on creatine?
I'm gonna get back to you on that.
let NASM1 help you press play. Visit NASM.org to sign up for a membership today.
You're listening to the Peak Physique Podcast with Andre Adams on the NASM Podcast Network.
Hey guys, welcome back to the show. I'm your host, Andre Adams. You are on the NASM Peak Physique Podcast. And today I want to cover a piece of equipment that I'm so excited about that I had to share it with you guys here on the show. This is going to be a review of the Speediance Gym Monster for physique training. Now, in the past, I've been a little bit more old school with my training, right? A little bit more hardcore with heavy free weights and steel barbells. And it took a little bit for me to really get outside of my comfort zone and try some of the latest and greatest technology. And honestly, I was blown away. So today we'll talk about what my initial reaction was, some of these new innovations in physique training using this state-of-the-art piece of equipment, the Speediance Gym Monster. And honestly, with today's busy lifestyles, rising gym costs, lack of time, right? It can really become difficult and challenging for a lot of people, athletes, and just, regular lifestyle, general population to get to the gym. So I've always believed in having a backup and having a nice home gym that you can fall back on, on those busy days, or when you just want to train out of the comfort of your own gym. So we're going to start out here with an overview of what is the Speediance Gym Monster home gym, and we'll talk through some of these functions, okay? All right, what is it? How does it work? Well, it's a home gym piece of equipment that is, again, very compact footprint. It's got some really, really high-end features. As you guys can see here, there's a huge LCD screen. It's touchscreen HMI, and the entire screen can pivot with you depending on what exercises you're doing. It's got a Bluetooth controller ring that you wear on your finger to adjust the intensity, up or down, pause the resistance. Pretty impressive stuff here. And you can kind of see as we're cycling through these images, there's different attachments. So you've got a rower attachment, which I've been using for my prep the last 3 weeks now, heading into the Tokyo Pro Show. You guys that are watching can probably see my diet face kicking in. And this has been a huge tool in getting my conditioning right. But as you guys can see, this is a full body training system, and you see how small that footprint is, and the base is actually foldable and it's on wheels. So you can stow it away, roll it out of the room, really easy to transport. And then some of the accessories that, you can get, and there's a whole list of them, but just high level, you've got the rower attachment that you just saw, some grips, so some single handles. You've got, the rope attachment like you would see on any cable machine in a commercial gym. You've got several different barbell attachments, an adjustable bench. You've got ankle straps, a hip thrust belt, all kinds of different accessories and attachments. And again, I was honestly blown away at the versatility and how modular and compact this piece of equipment was. And if you guys have followed too, maybe a month ago or so, I put a different video out. It was my first full training session on it. And I think I did shoulders and arms that day. And I'll explain why I was so sore the next day. But there's just a lot of different techniques or training modalities that can really challenge your central nervous system a little bit different than traditional free weight. So very excited. And that was my first reaction, even backing it up a step. Before I used the machine, when it arrived, it actually arrived on a pallet in this big box. And it was like early Christmas for me. And I opened the box, and the first thing I noticed is, wow, this is a quality piece of equipment, really high-end construction. The packaging was even high-end, where everything was laser cut into foam blocks. So each, piece of this machine was had its own spot in this foam packaging. to make sure it didn't get damaged in transport. Really easy to assemble. I had the whole thing up and running in about 30 minutes or less. So that was the first reaction, I would say, is before I even used it, I knew this was a premium piece of equipment. Now, the next thing that I really, really was blown away by was the advanced controls in the huge touchscreen HMI. And this directly syncs with your phone. So if you guys have, if you're into using the phone apps, you can track all of your workouts, your calories expended, everything. And if you're a physique coach, this is data that you can get from your athletes. You can even program some of the workouts and schedule them into your athlete's app. So this is, again, very high end. I would say it's very advanced. And I was definitely blown away at the app itself. So the software side of things and the controls. And speaking of the app, there are, gosh, I don't even know how many. There's certainly hundreds. There could be thousands of different workouts preloaded in here. And most of those are with a virtual trainer. So if you think about the Peloton style, right, where you've got a trainer that's leading and guiding a workout, you've got this visual to help guide you if you're new to lifting. Even for myself, right, I'm about as experienced and seasoned as it gets, but it's really good to have some guidance on maybe new exercises that even I'm unfamiliar with, or I'm unfamiliar with on this specific piece of equipment. So I found that to be very enjoyable. And you can adjust all the settings, the music, tempo, all kinds of stuff. So that app and the touchscreen, the controls, definitely state of the art. And one of the other things, I'm going to dive in a little deeper, but when I say advanced training techniques, there were different settings that you can apply because, again, there's no weight on this machine. So it looks like this dual cable type of machine setup, but it's all digitally controlled, right? So the resistance is electronically controlled, not adding weights. And it gives you the versatility to do a lot of different things like eccentric loading, chain loading or progressive loading, constant time or constant velocity loading, right? Really advanced techniques that some of these I haven't used in years. And you can do all of this on this one compact piece of equipment. So very, very fascinating stuff. Another thing for you NASM OPT fans, right? If you're constantly, like myself, programming undulating periodization, where we're training throughout multiple phases of that OPT model, this is going to be a great piece of equipment for you. And you can train your clients on this as well. But you can do stabilization and recovery. You can do strength endurance. You can do hypertrophy, strength, muscle development, and power. All of these different phases, there are presets in here for each of those, or you can create your own workouts. So definitely very versatile and gives you the ability to do some undulating periodization. And then again, it's suitable really for total body physique training. For me specifically, I am primarily, we'll say about 90% right now, training in the hypertrophy phase. For you guys that don't know, I'm sitting just a couple weeks out from the Japan Tokyo Pro Super Show, right? It's an Olympia qualifier. And this actually arrived at the perfect time. So about 4 weeks ago, I think I got my machine and started using it. And this has helped just honestly shock my physique a little bit differently, and definitely noticing an improvement in my conditioning. One of the things I like to do with this machine is, instead of my 60 minutes or 1 hour fasted cardio in the morning, on the treadmill, typically for me, I'll do, steep incline, brisk walk. I'll go about 3.5 to 3.8 mile per hour, incline of 5 to 6, wear my sweat belt. And I usually just sweat that out for 60 minutes. What I've been doing recently is 30 to 40 minutes there. And then I'll do 15 to 20 minutes of HIIT on the rower attachment. And that has been an excellent 1-2 punch. Definitely seeing a lot higher caloric output. And I'm noticing the scale moving a lot faster, right? So definitely gives you some different options to train in different modalities, different phases, and just really mix up your training. If you guys are just joining us, you are on the Peak Physique podcast, and we are talking about the review of the Speediance Gym Monster. And we say home gym equipment, but honestly, this piece of equipment is so good, I will definitely be putting one in my commercial gym, Stat Fitness Kenosha, for our personal trainers to train one-on-one with clients. So I think it's definitely worthy of, being in a commercial gym setting as well. you do have to take care of it, right? You don't want just in a public gym setting, you don't want just anyone messing around with the screen and, maybe abusing it. But for your personal trainers, I think this is an excellent device to share with them as well. The next thing we'll cover is adaptive training mechanisms for physique and bodybuilding. So high level, I kind of touched on some of these, but I'm going to go a little deeper and explain the benefits of each one of those adaptive training mechanisms. The first one is the constant force loading, right? So it's constant velocity, constant force. The benefits include less joint impact. You're going to have a reduced risk of injury and enhanced neuromuscular control, and then an increased work capacity, right? You're going to make the muscle fibers fire a little bit differently. You can push as hard as you want, but you've got this constant speed that's moving, right? So it's going to challenge the muscles a little bit differently than your traditional 202 tempo if you're doing hypertrophy training. And for me as a bodybuilder, that was a little shock to my system. I was honestly sweating like a pig the first time I used it, and I loved it. So I've tried each one of these different adaptive mechanisms, and I think they each shock the body a little bit differently and challenge that central nervous system a little different. The next one, and this is my favorite, this was a game changer for me, is eccentric loading. This actually brings me back to my powerlifting days also, because we would employ some of these different mechanisms for training, right? Even for our maximal power output or increasing work capacity. So when we think about eccentric loading, all that means if I'm doing, let's say I'm doing a shoulder press, when I press on the way down, it begins to progress the intensity. So higher loading on the way down than on the way up. Now, the benefits of that, you're going to get increased time under tension. So you're speaking bodybuilding language all day long with time under tension. You get progressive overload on the eccentric, right? So that high tension, that lengthening portion of the movement. And that's where the most muscle growth occurs. So that's really where we want to challenge that muscle and those fibers the most. And ultimately, we're creating more micro tears, which when you're talking about mechanisms of hypertrophy, right, the micro tears are exercise-induced muscle damage. That's going to help the muscles grow a little bit faster. Another benefit of eccentric loading, increased muscle strength and deceleration action, right? So again, on the way down, we're accelerating on the way up, and now we have to try extra hard to decelerate that load on the way down as it's progressing. You're also going to get, because of that, enhanced joint stabilization and adaptability. So when we slow down that eccentric and we have to resist, it gives our smaller connective tissues, soft tissues, and those smaller stabilizer muscles a chance to really recruit and kick in and stabilize the joints, right? So you're going to get this big benefit of joint stabilization and adaptability over time. Increased mind-muscle connection for sure. I think the first one that I did with the eccentric loading was a single handle attachment on both sides, and I was doing rows. So I did a seated row, cable row, and on the way back, I had about a 30% increase on the eccentric loading. And you could just feel as you're going through that eccentric motion, the muscle fascia through the lats, through the rhomboids, through that low to mid trap, everything opening up because I have to resist that motion. So definitely increased mind muscle connection. I could feel every detail at each muscle fiber working there. So definitely game changer. Highly encourage you guys to try that out. And then chain loading. So you see this often done in the gym, right? If you're talking about a bench press or a deadlift, you'll put the big heavy chains on. And the purpose of that is to have a progressive load that's a little bit heavier at the top than during the initial part of the movement, right? So the concentric phase becomes progressively heavier as you move further away from the body. Now, that can activate more fast twitch muscle fiber, right? The reason that happens, if we're talking a bench press, off the bottom, you're going to have a lot higher velocity until that extra weight starts to kick in. And now we start to slow down and really get that hard muscle contraction. This is going to lead to increases in both strength and power. You're going to be able to break through sticking points because the greater velocity at the beginning of the movement. And then again, increased stabilization because that higher time under tension at the top. So that's your progressive loading. We call it chain loading setting. And in addition to those things, you can choose from hundreds of preloaded workouts. Some of them will work in different mechanisms or different phases. And then one of my favorites, obviously, is just going to be free training. So let's say you've gone through a workout or you've got in mind your own workout that you've programmed. you can use the free training function and set the machine up for any, variety of exercises that you would choose. So we talked about the function, some of the accessories and attachments, all of these fun mechanisms that can shock the body a little bit differently. And I know you guys are probably wondering by now, how does the cost of a machine like this compare to typical home gym equipment? The cost can range. There's different levels of this. I actually have the Gym Monster, which is like the premium highest level package that they have. And mine was around $4,000. I think they start somewhere around the $3,000 US mark. And then it depends on which attachments and build that you get. But when you put that into perspective, if you look at like a Marcy Pro, full versatile home gym setup, you could get, an Iron Master full home gym setup like the IM2000 plus all the attachments. You're going to be in that same price range, maybe more expensive with multiple machines or really big, heavy attachments. So you got to keep that in mind, is you are replacing an entire gym, home gym, with this tiny compact footprint that you can fold up and wheel away, right? With no weights. So that's the other thing you have to keep in mind. If you do have a home gym, you might have $2,000 just in weights, weight plates alone. So I would say it's very cost effective and it's very competitive when you're rolling up in aggregate the total cost of the equipment and not having any additional costs for weight plates and things like this. But definitely the biggest benefit out of that is going to be that compact footprint. It actually made me second guess having a full-on home gym right now because I haven't really touched it since I got the Gym Monster in. The last thing I'll leave you guys with is really just a summary and recap of my review and then where you can find this equipment and get more information about it. And of course, you can always follow my Instagram too, because I'm constantly posting videos, training on my own or training clients. But, I've used this machine in total about a month now, and it's been an excellent addition to my home gym. And it's definitely helped progress my physique training for this season. I've got these upcoming shows. So I've been very excited to add this into my regimen. And just kind of recapping, it is one of the most modular, versatile home gym pieces of equipment that I've used. And if you guys have followed me long enough, you've probably seen my last couple of home gyms, and they have been nothing short of spectacular. But this one might take the cake, honestly, just due to the compact footprint and the versatility and the advanced controls. But really just truly innovative technology. And it can also be used to train your clients for you guys that are physique coaches or personal trainers. And all in all, I give it 2 thumbs up. Highly recommend this piece of equipment. If you guys are interested in learning more or seeing some of the demonstration videos, you can always go straight to their website. It's just www.speediance, that's SPEEDIANCE.com. And if you're interested in that too, you can use my personal discount code, which is just Andre Off. So all one word, Andre Off, and that'll save you an extra $120 in your pocket. Highly recommend them. Go check it out. If you have an opportunity to give one a test ride, by all means, check it out. I promise you'll love it. Guys, that's all we got on my review for the Speediance Home Gym Monster. As always, if you have follow-up questions, you guys can find me on Instagram at AndreAdams_official. You can email me at trainingbydre@gmail.com, or you can find me online at AndreAdamsofficial.com. All right, guys, until next time, signing off of the Peak Physique Podcast.